Welcome to PK Woodworking, and today we're going to kind of continue on this journey that has been going on in the background with my Castle FaceFrame table. You kind of saw me, I think, cleaning it up or whatever and showing you guys what it was like, but I've replaced a bunch of things and I'm kind of going to show you what I'm going to do going forward. I have a 1-inch piece of Baltic birch here that I put a piece of Formica on top of to protect it from the glue. And I want to make it more than just a face frame table, because a face frame table to me isn't super, I guess, useful all the time. It's important when you want it, but then when you don't need it, it's great to be able to like get rid of it. But if you make it also a clamp table, then definitely more useful. So what I've done is I've got some 4-inch pneumatic ram clamps. I've got 6 of them. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my PARF guide and I'm gonna put the grid system from PARF on it. And then I'll be able to have these all over the table when I wanna do a glue up. Since the table's at an angle, and by the way, there's probably a card either on this side or over here showing my face frame table. And you'll understand maybe a little bit more. But the idea behind this is I still have to fabricate this up a little bit, but there's gonna be these 4 pieces that fit inside of the PARF guide holes on a piece of metal of some kind, and they will attach to this. And then this right here, which is the on-off switch, will attach to this. And then this will connect up to a T-fitting along the top of this. And I'll have parking positions behind it if I don't want it at the time. But the whole idea is that I'll be able to have 6 of these that I can use to clamp pieces in here and actually use it like a glue table somewhat too. And as long as I think the joinery is solid and I haven't like got screwed up joints, I think there's sufficient pressure with these to be able to take care of that. So I'm gonna put this stuff away, and I'm gonna figure out where the PARF guide system is gonna start, and then I'm just gonna start putting the PARF guide holes wherever I need to put them. Now, these orange strips you can see here, these are the spaces where the bars are on the table currently. They're metal tubing. And I would rather not have these little PARF guide things going into the table where one of those is at, just because if I drill the hole there and the sawdust can't go through, then I've got kind of a deal where sawdust, continues to like, I guess, pack itself in there over time. I'd rather just drill all the way through and then I won't have to deal with that. So at this point, I'm gonna move this around a little bit. I think I've gotten to a place where I'm gonna miss all of them except for possibly one way out there. So we're gonna see what I can do to kind of avoid getting in one of those. And then I'm gonna start drilling all this stuff up. I'm gonna put some of this away and then start marking this stuff up. Just for some clarity here, like there are clamp tables made that are face frame tables and clamp tables. Ritter makes them. Again, those are super expensive. And there's another person out there on YouTube and the web selling kits where you can make your own, something like this, but not exactly the same. I don't know what kind of clamps he uses on it. For the price that he was looking for them, I found all the parts from reputable companies on eBay, taken off of something that was built already but never used. Actual clamps are brand new and they're SMC at really high quality. I'm into this whole project at this point for 6 clamps for probably around the price of one of his clamps. Maybe not even the system, just one of his clamps. This is a 4-inch stroke, and those ones on the internet are not 4-inch stroke, they're only 2-inch stroke. So this one will make it so that I don't have to have the holes starting so close to the front. I can have the holes kind of start farther back into the space. Hope that makes a little bit of sense. I'm gonna start the holes at 8 inches. So I'm just gonna mark 8 inches on this for the few of them that are here right now, so it'll kind of line it up for me about where I want it to be. And then now I'm going to try to get these lined up, like I said, so I can avoid any of these bars. And I think that I may, way out here, I know you might not be able to see it, but number 9 out here, I may way out here beyond one of them, but I'm gonna miss all of the other ones. I think that's where we're gonna kind of do it at. Normally with the PARF guide system, He wants you to clamp this PARF guide ruler down, but since I am so far in here, it's gonna make it a bit of a challenge to make that happen. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to do with a couple of like cauls and see if I can make that work with a caul to get it to do that. Okay, so now yeah, put a pin in. And now that is located. Now I'll go down to 10. And I do the same thing. There probably are 30 people on the web that have done this PARF system, so I'm not going to explain it. This is just going to be fast forwarded. Okay, so that was 246 holes. Back is killing me. Now I got to make the bigger holes. Hold on. Because I'm using something that's over 3/4 of an inch, because that's normally what PARF is looking for, I need to go and finish drilling through all the holes because the holes have to go all the way through. 264 20mm holes. Man. Let's finish up this video for the Castle FaceFrame table. So you saw it come from me getting it from a nice gentleman in San Diego, covered in glue. I'll give you some numbers here. I bought it for $350. Super nice guy. It was a wreck. So I took it all apart and I sanded off what I could sand off and I painted it over. Shockingly, the paints are actually just John Deere paint. So John Deere tractor green and John Deere yellow are the paint codes from Castle. So that was pretty easy. I put some casters on it, lots of glue removal, soaking, all kinds of stuff. The substrate that they had was never going to work. It was ruined. And I knew I wanted to put these holes in it for this PARF system so I could use it for clamping doors, etc. later on, but that's not going to be part of this video. The issue was that this particular arm has a clamping system from Castle that they don't sell anymore. The company that built them, their cylinders, didn't make it anymore. They went out of production, I guess, on those particular cylinders. And to be honest with you, I didn't love them. When I first got it, it leaked pretty solidly, so I knew I had to rebuild them all. I did spend the money and buy the rebuild cylinders and bought a bunch of other stuff from Castle to get it work. I think I probably spent somewhere around 200 bucks from Castle. I needed to get a couple of bearings from them to make this roll much nicer, and I needed to get replacement hoses from Castle, and then I got the cylinder rebuild kits, but the cylinder rebuild, I tried it. It was not going to work. Long stories involved in it, but it was just too worn out and it was still leaking. So what I did instead was I used the carriages that were part of the Castle system already. So they're these yellow steel pieces that are bent into a U, and then they have some pieces on them, nylon kind of inserts that you use to make it slide around on this, you know, so you can adjust where you want to put the clamp at. I was able to use those and repurpose them, and then I found a cylinder that was at least as powerful as the one that they had on it originally on Amazon. And so each one of these cylinders, I want to say, was somewhere around $22 a piece. And I just found some hardware, drilled some holes, attached it. It was pretty simple. I reused the feet that were on the Castle cylinders right on it, so it's easy. It's the same foot, same part. And then I found these, they're called Fescolo air switches on eBay. And I think they were used, like installed, but never used. And then I had to buy some air fittings and whatever for it. So I'm $350 into it for the table. I'm about $175 into it for the sheet and the covering. This is actually Formica on top of it. I know it's wood grain look, but a Home Depot, this was actually the cheapest at the time, 4x8 sheet of Formica that I could get. So it's just easy because I can just scrape off the glue, no problem whatsoever. $500 there so far, and then I'm probably into it about a couple of $100 worth of stuff from Castle, so let's say $700. And then I'm probably about $150, maybe $180 worth of stuff for all the air things that I attached to it. So I think I'm somewhere around 900 bucks for this, and it works at least probably better than new, because I think the way I've got this set up with some UWHM, I don't know, ultra high molecular weight stuff on it, it rolls actually nicer than it did stock. Repurposed, works fantastic. Again, I think I'm only using, I reused the all the parts that were already up there, including the regulator. I think this is like probably 50 pounds of pressure, and like it's more than enough. I probably don't even need to use 50 pounds of pressure. I probably can dial it back. But if you don't know what this is for, I'll show you. Okay, let's say you're making a face frame and just pretend that I've got pocket holes drilled in this, which I don't right now. So normally you would have this like this, and you got like a 90 degrees on the bottom. You move this down to where you want it, and then you put them both together to where you want, and then you just hit the button, and now you've got it clamped. And then you have a spot, if you notice here, with the way that a pocket screw works, where if the clamp's here, the screw still goes here. You screw it in, bam, bam, you're done. If you're really in production, you're gonna have spacer blocks. A lot of people like screw them to the bottom or whatever if they have specific distances they use all the time. So say for instance, you do a lot of 24 cabinets and the inside is 21.5. You'll have a square piece of plywood that would fit here that would be the same distance. You'd put that in there, then you'd be able to have the next rail up here, and you could have that rail clamped too. So now you're bam, bam, got them both shot, piece of cake, and then you unclamp them, and then you can move it down and do another section, or you can roll this down to the next section. Usually you would actually do it up against this piece right here in the front, which is the front part, but it's not in the shot, so I'm not showing it to you that way. Anyway, great for that, and super happy. My next project on this one is to build the clamps that would be able to clamp downward and inward, and those ones will let me do at least cabinet doors, hopefully also let me do glue ups too. That's the next one on this, but right now, she's done, she's squared, it works great. Again, if you can find one of these things, it just takes a little bit of time, but you can get one of these things to work really well. And even when they say that you have to replace all these parts from Castle, you don't. It's actually much cheaper. To replace this arm with Castle's new version of the arm is $2,000 plus shipping. And it doesn't work with that existing top part. You'd have to buy a different version. They call it the through version that actually lets you use huge face frames if you want to, which I didn't want to do that anyway because I don't want to have a huge door all the time to use this and worry about things above it. Castle has a solution. If you have one of these things where they're like worn out and they don't work, this one I think works better. Like these are much nicer than the Castle version in my opinion, and way cheaper. Just got to put in some effort. So thanks for watching, and like and subscribe if you got this far, and we'll see you on the next one.